Welcome to an Oaken Tower video. I'm Bokeri, I'm the developer of the game, and today I have something pretty exciting for you guys. This is a tier list of the different packs in the game. And as you can see here at the end, we have the dragon and goblin packs as well. Now these are not in the game yet, but make sure you stick around to the end because I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek on what these packs are gonna be all about. And then I'm gonna rank them as well in the ratings. This is not going to be based on how good the packs are, like how strong they are in the meta, but more of my favorite packs, how fun I think they are, and well designed they are. So I'm not going to look at how well they're performing necessarily. Also, that wouldn't make sense because, the game is perfectly balanced. Anyway, I want to show you something very funny before we start. This is a screenshot from the original 100 items, like the Google Sheets document. I mean, look at this. Like, what is this? I mean, this is so chaotic, but it's also kind of funny to look at. What do you have here? When poise bleed burn triggers +5 damage, do +5 damage. This is +2 damage right now, by the way. But everything was so broken back then. This was in the demo. It was like last year. And I just made 100 items. And I was like, I'm going to push this out to the demo. I'm going to let people decide what's broken and what's not. And there was a lot of broken shit here. I mean, what is this? Gives multicast, X2. Wait, what does that even mean? We have the Lapis Lazuli was crazy. This gave a level on trigger. Like, what? Restore 15% max HP? Restore 15% max HP. I assume that's on trigger. This never made it into the game, by the way, but holy shit. I mean, I'm glad that it didn't make it into the game, but there was a lot of broken stuff. I think that was pretty funny just to take a quick look there. But let's go on with the ratings. So we have Arcane to begin with. I want to bring up the items like as we go through them, just so we can see the different items in the pack. And Arcane is all about the rainbow debuff synergies. So you want to apply a little bit of everything. And I think this is a pretty cool design. You have the Void Spike that gains damage per unique debuff you apply. The Void Stinger is one of my favorite items actually in the game. This gains permanent damage, and it also applies the rainbow debuffs itself, except for shock. But you have the runic shield to apply shock. The runic shield is also one of my favorite epics in the game. I think this is a very cool item. The wild magic it's like the content, the YouTube content book. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I think the pack, it doesn't have a ton of projectiles flying around the screen, which I normally like. But I mean, it does have some pretty hitters, or some heavy hitters rather, like the Void Stinger. Also some pretty hitters as well. I mean, but I think Arcane for me is it's a pretty fun pack. I wouldn't put it in high tier, but I would probably put the Arcane pack in B tier. It's like I'm not mad if I get this pack at random, but it's not like a must pick for me either. Then we have the Crystal pack. So this is all about bleed, and I mean, there are some pretty cool items in the Crystal pack. I especially like Shardfang. This is probably my favorite item in the pack. But I also really like the Topaz Spear. I mean, you can slot this into a lot of builds, right? If you have a bunch of triggers, maybe some multicast, a moon build, or maybe a healer's oath. I mean, you can put the Topaz Spear in and you're not mad about that. I mean, you just get a bunch of damage. Like 10 bleed is a lot, right? The Amber is nice. If you play with the perk that gives you a random essence, maybe you get a crystal essence and you can trigger an item with the Amber, so that's really nice. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's like a kind of a meh pack, I think, for me personally. So I would probably, actually, to be honest, I would put this in C tier. It's not as fun as Arcane for me. I could put it in B tier behind Arcane, but I'm going to put it in the C tier for now. Then we have the Dark pack. So the Dark pack is all about start of combat. This is a very cool pack. I think this is a very well-designed pack. It's actually inspired by a Hearthstone Battlegrounds mechanic, which is the Death Rattle, because you have the Titus Rivendare card. Your Death Rattles trigger an extra time. So I made the Start of Combat, which does a bunch of things, and then I added the Night Quill, which says your Start of Combat effects trigger an extra time. I really liked Titus Rivendare from Battlegrounds. It's one of my favorite minions, so I wanted to do something similar. And this was actually a dark item to begin with. It's now a neutral item because you have Start of Combat in like almost every pack at this point. So it's nice to have a neutral item that amplifies that. But there's, the Dark Necklace, which triggers your Start of Combat effects. Executioner recently got reworked. This is a super cool item now, I think. I think this was a brilliant rework. Decay is fun. I really like Batwing. So all in all, this is definitely a great pack. I would put Dark in A tier. It's not all the way up to S tier. It's very, very close, but I kind of want to keep S tier sacred. So it's going to be an A tier for me now. Then we have the Elven pack. This is a very versatile pack. You have Poison with the Poison Dagger, the Venom Ring, of course, with multicast on it. It can do some crazy things. But there's also like an off-meta Elven build with the Tempo. So you have Refined Spear, give it a bit of multicast maybe, trigger it a bunch of times with the How to Grow, or not trigger it, but give it more damage. And then Refined Bow and the Razor Leaf. So you have the Tempo Elven build, and then you got the Poison build. And for that reason, you can do, either you can do scaling or some tempo, and I think it's kind of cool. I like the Elven pack a lot, actually, and I think it's cool to make something Elven with the Elven Essence and then give it multicast with the Orb. That's always cool to do. So I think for me, Elven is going to be an A tier pack. It's going to be behind Dark for sure, but it's going to be A tier, like definitely ahead of Arcane and Crystal. Then we have the Flame pack. The Flame pack is very simple. Right, it's a very straightforward pack. You have, you apply burn. You just want to apply as much burn as possible to the enemy and just burn them down. I mean, it's very straightforward, right? It's very beginner friendly, but it's also just kind of fun. I like this, but I think it is just a tad too simple for me. Who've played a lot of hours in the game. I really like Doom Guide though. This is inspired by the Boulder from the Bazaar. And I mean, this is just a cool item to trigger with the Amber, of course. If you make it Crystal, you can make it Holy, trigger it with Holy Sigil. So this is a very cool item. By far my favorite item in the pack. But all in all, I think for me, Flame is a C tier pack. Just because it's just a bit too straightforward for me. Behind Crystal in C tier. It's not all the way to D tier, but this is where I'm going to put Flame for now. Then we got the Frosty pack, and the Frosty pack is very cool, I think. It's actually an extremely cool pack. So you have the crit synergy with the Ice Spear gaining perma crit and the Glacier. You can do some crazy shenanigans with this and the Warhorn. But there's also the Frostbound, which, whenever an item crits, it gains perma damage. You have extra crit damage from the Sapphire Amulet, but there's also the Cold Shot. This is actually probably my favorite item in the pack. This, says whenever a Frosty item triggers, trigger this. So this is a rare item. If you give this multicast early game using Modern Archery, which is possible because they're both rare, right? So you can get this combo early game. You can give this multicast, and whenever a Frosty item triggers, instead of triggering this once, it will trigger multiple times because it has multicast, and it will just be a Gatling gun, like, and like, it's pretty hard to get a perma triggering item early game. I think it's only Cold Shot and Healer's Oath that can actually do that early in the game. But for that reason, I really like this, and I also really like Winter's Embrace. So when you crit, it gains bonus multicast. Maybe you have a Cold Shot that's rapid firing. It will quickly make the Winter's Embrace do, 50 or 60 multicast, and this will also perma trigger. And it's just so cool to look at. I really like packs with a lot of projectiles. So for me, Frosty is, you know what? It's not quite S tier, but it's actually, I think I'm going to put it in front in A tier. I personally really like the Frosty pack. So it's going to be in front in A tier for now. Maybe we do a little bit of shuffling at some point, but this is where I'd put it right now. Then we have the Holy Pack. So the Holy Pack is all about healing and debuff removal. It's man, it's one of those packs where it's like it's good. It's a good pack, but it's not a fun pack necessarily for me. It's just, I know it's a very strong pack. Like you have Redemption, which is a solo carry item. You have Protector, which is just, it cleanses debuffs. This is just always good. You can slot this into any build, so it's extremely flexible. You can make something holy, trigger it with the Holy Sigil. If you have a Healer's Oath with an early Mace Study, you can get a bunch of triggers, put up some bleed on the opponent. And then you have all the, the early game cleansing, which is just always pretty decent. So, and Solaris is good. So it's like, it's actually all around, it's a good pack. For some reason though, it's just not my favorite pack, right? But is it going to be a B tier? I think this is going to be a B tier pack. I would put this behind Arcane. I think Arcane is more fun for me than Holy. But I think Holy is probably a bit more fun than Crystal and Flame, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Then we have the Moon Pack. Oh boy. The Moon Pack. This actually went through a major overhaul in the demo, for those of you who didn't know. So it used to be a pack surrounding leveling synergies. So when you level up, some things happen, but it turned out to be a bit boring and a bit like kind of impossible to balance. But you can kind of still see like the Lunar Codex. It still has the when you level up, it gains multicast, and the Moon Knife gives you XP. So this makes it easier for you to level. But other than that, the entire pack got overhauled to be around multicast. So this is what it's all about now. So you have Silver Lance, Crescent Shot, even the Moonstone, which is just like multicasting items. Then you have the Lapis, which gives your moon items damage. And as you know, damage and multicast is a very good combo. Moon Veil, which is one of my favorite items in the game, gives your other moon items more multicast. So this is just a build that will be one huge machine gun, and I just think that's incredibly fun. I really like Winter's Embrace, as I mentioned previously. So what I like about Winter's Embrace is not only its ability, but also its art. I think this is one of the most goated pieces of artwork in the game, because it's a Moon and Frosty hybrid item, and you can see both of those packs in the item, right? You have the Moon in the middle, but then you have these Frosty shards sticking out from it, and I don't know, I think it looks incredible. Yeah, so all in all, I just really like this pack. I think Lunar Codex is a very fun early game pickup for me, and Moonstone is just good if you have a bit of a bit of bleed. Just slot in a Moonstone, and I mean, you're gonna be happy about that. So for me, Moon is one of my favorite packs in the game. I think this is an S tier pack. I'm really happy about the overhaul I made back in the day. I think this turned out to be an extremely fun pack to play with. Then we have Storm. Storm is one of the new packs in the game, or I mean, it was made for the early access, so it is pretty new still. And I think it's a fun pack. It turned out really well. It wasn't as fun, I think, in the beginning when I tested it. I was kind of on the edge with the shock mechanic. It deals flat damage per tick, and then you have to buff up the shock damage with things like Storm Guard or the Morning Star, but I think it turned out to be a very fun mechanic, and it's very unique. It's not something I've seen in other auto battlers, so I'm pretty proud about that. And I think the Sky Bolt is also very fun. It's actually my favorite item in the entire pack. This is a very, very fun item, I think. And the Tempest is very nice. The Staff of Zeus did go through a small overhaul, so it made shock trigger twice, which combos very well with the Tempest now, and this is super fun to play with. So instead of triggering a shock stack on the enemy, the shock stacks will trigger twice, so it will actually trigger twice as many. So all in all, I actually really like the Storm pack. For me, Storm pack is an A tier item, pack, and I don't think it's as fun as Frosty, but I actually think it's more fun to play with than Dark. So I'm gonna put Storm in A tier, just behind the Frosty pack. Then we have the Witch pack. So this is a pack that many of the big streamers are using all the time, because it's like one of those packs. It's not a very good early game, but if you get this scaled to endless mode, it's gonna be absolutely crazy, right? And I do agree that it's fun to do an endless run with Witch and producing 1,000 potions each day. Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly fun. But I'm a player, dude, that kind of likes the early game a lot. I really appreciate the first 5 days, and it's just not really that good. Also, there's one thing with Witch where it's like, I really like the cauldron. I think cauldron is is my favorite item in the pack, but people don't really use it. It's not very good, but it was actually supposed to be the main potion generator in the Witch pack. Maybe I will have to rebalance it. I think it needs a buff. Maybe this one, the simple curses, will have a bit of a nerf, but it's like, people are only using this one to generate potions, whereas the cauldron is actually supposed to be, I mean, it's a legendary item, right? But anyway, I think the Witch pack is very nice. I do think, however, that for me, it's just, I don't think it's as fun as these. Is it though? I feel like I want to put it in the front of B tier, but then again, right? I'm like, it's more fun than Elven. It's definitely more fun. So I think we do this, put Elven in front of B tier, because actually I don't think Elven is on par with these four at the moment. It's actually, yeah, it is pretty fun, especially those late game rounds where you get 1,000 potions. So I'm gonna put it like this, put Elven to B tier. Then we have the neutral pack, and this is I don't know why I included this, but I did because I thought it would be fun, but it's kind of weird to rank this because there are so many items in the neutral pack. You have some pretty basic items, right? Noble Spear doesn't do anything. Hunter's Tome permanently gain +1 damage. It's, the neutral pack has to be very simple and straightforward because it's always going to be included in the game. You can't toggle it off, so it's just going to have to be some pretty basic stuff. But there are some cool items. I really like Modern Archery as an item. Of course, Dreamcatcher is just a goated item as well. Anvil is super fun. Lost Fragment plus the Nature's Call is always some cool enablers. And then there are a few items that are just a bit meh. But all in all, I think the neutral pack is very fun and it enables a lot of the combos. But where do we place it though? That's kind of the thing, right? I really don't know where we would place this item. I think it would probably go in the B tier? Behind Elven? Nah, in front of Elven though. In front of Elven, I think. I would probably put it right here. In front of B tier, but not as fun as Witch and Dark Storm Frosty. I think this is a good place to put it. Let's put it there. And then we have the Dragon and Goblin packs. So the Dragon pack is, I'm gonna give you a little teaser. So as you have seen, all of the packs have, different like synergies going on, right? And there are like some main themes in the different packs. Dark has Start of Combat. There's Crystal that has Bleed, and so on. So the Dragon pack, you actually, actually, let me show you something. You have already 2 dragon items. So you have the Dragon Orb on trigger, permanently gain 50 max health. This can crit. And you have the Dragon's Call, which triggers your bows if you only have unique bows. So these are actually the main 2 themes in the Dragon pack. So one is the unique bow theme, which is not the main theme in the pack. This is like a sub-theme. And then we have the main theme, which is, abilities that can crit. This is incredibly cool, right? You already have the Dragon Orb, so it gains 50 max health. But if the item crits, you actually gain 100 max health. And so there are going to be a lot of different dragon items with cool abilities. But if the item crits, the ability gets amplified. And then you have some dragon items that actually helps give crit to your other dragon items. And it's going to be incredibly fun. I played a lot around with this pack. And it is a very fun pack. I'm not sure I would put it in S tier. I would probably... It would be very close to S tier for me. But I think I'm going to put it in A tier at the very front. I think it's a very, very cool pack. And for me, this is going to be in the front of A tier. Then we have the Goblin pack. So you actually don't know any Goblin items yet. And the Goblin pack is going to be a very fun pack, I think. So we have two different themes going on. One is like the tinkering items, where they buff other goblin items. So there's like a goblin internal synergy type of thing, where there's going to be a bunch of items that buffs your other goblin items, and then you can do some pretty crazy synergies with those. And then you have something very cool. So there are going to be 3 rare items in the goblin pack, and those are going to be the 3 bombs, basically. So you can think of the bombs like a mini Doom Guide, okay? So like a rare kind of Doom Guide thing. So you would have maybe 7 or 8 second cooldowns, or fairly long cooldown, and the bomb only has 1 charge. And then it triggers, fires off the bomb, it explodes, has a huge impact, and that's it. Then you use the bomb. And there's going to be 3 different ones. So there's one that deals a lot of damage. Then there's like the bio bomb, and then there's the arson bomb. So one that deals a lot of damage, one that deals a lot of poison, one that deals a lot of burn. And now there are going to be some other goblin items that synergize with bombs specifically. And those are going to be so cool. I cannot wait to playtest this more and to show you guys this, because this is going to be incredibly fun. I think this might actually be the best pack in the game, well, in terms of fun at least. So I'm going to put this in S tier, and I think this actually I'm going to be a little bit careful, but I actually think I would put Goblin ahead of Moon Pack. I think this might be my favorite pack in the game once it releases, but this is just my temporary thoughts. Maybe it will change. But so far, this is how I would rank all of the packs in the game. Now, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. You never know when the developer is going to make another video, or maybe a little sneak peek on future items. So for now, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one.